Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus, available to use online, at ATMs or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.
Hi there, a very warm welcome to the Weekend Racing Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington and I am delighted to be joined this week by Paul Keeley, David Jennings and from Paddy Power, Frank Hickey. So we're looking ahead to a devilishly difficult classic. It's the William Hill St Leger at Doncaster on Saturday. Very, very tough race. We've got 3 good supporting races there. ITV are also showing 3 at Chester. Hopefully the lads have got some good things there. And then there's all sorts of other stuff going on all around Britain and Ireland on Saturday. The less said about Sunday's racing, the better. It's not that strong, but Keels has promised us a Sunday tip. We might even get a little Gaelic football tip from Frank the Tank. He's normally the master of racing, but he's got a couple of views on that. So we will start then, chaps, with... well, I'll tell you what, Kills, before we get on to Doncaster, you were up north at Haydock last week, weren't you? And just before we came into the studio, I said, how was Haydock? Because I haven't seen you. And you said, good, apart from a near-death experience. What happened?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was rather drunk, walked out of Haydock and was just walking down the road, and I went to cross the road. We were going to the Thistle Hotel to call a cab. And I just walked out into the road, basically, and I have White Van Man to thank for swerving me, because apparently it was incredibly close.
Really?
Yeah.
Christ. It's quite possible the van would have come off second best
well, yeah,
if the
there was
collision
always,
had
there was
taken place.
There was always that possibility.
But did you have fun up there?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I forgot what a good day's racing you get at Haydock. Like, you know what I mean? The viewing's great. The people there are ace, and I really, really enjoyed it. Apart from not backing any winners, I backed 4 seconds and 5/3 on the day.
Well, that is the sign of a good day's racing, isn't it? Even when you've done your bollocks, you still enjoyed it. Well done. Okay, let's hope no one will be losing money this weekend. And to help you along, hopefully on the path to profit, the lads are going to mark your card. We'll start obviously with the big race, 3:35, the William Hill St Leger. And Frank, before we get into the tips, what's the latest betting from Paddy Power?
Yeah, we've joined favourites at the moment. Capri and Crystal Ocean are both 4-1. Defoe 9-2. Cornet 6-1. Stradivarius 7-1. Venice Beach 10-1. Raheen House and Rekindling are 12s, and we're 20s bar. And
5th to 4, I believe. So if you finish 4th, you get paid out on each way. That's good.
4 places in this for PP players. So yeah, that's very good. With only
11 runners.
11 runners.
Can't argue with that. Now, Kills, are you good at the St Leger? Are you generally a St Leger master? Because it's quite a difficult test, isn't it? You've got the trip, you've got the fact that the going can, be a little bit variable. You've got the fact that horses are at the end of a long season. So what's the key to tipping the Leger?
Well, I would normally say that, no, I'm absolutely rubbish at it, but I tipped Harbour Law last year, so that's a nice, perfect bit of after timing for you. But,
well played.
But yeah, so...
the pressure's on then. Who are we going to go for?
Well, I think this is one of the deepest St Legers I can remember. I mean, just in terms of horses with a chance. And, obviously Capri is arguably the form horse, having won an Irish Derby, beaten Cracksman. What price would Cracksman be if he was running here now?
Well, what price would he be? You tell me.
He'd be evens, wouldn't he?
I'd be laying him.
I think he would be that short.
I'd be laying him.
Given the way he won at York last time, I think he'd be that short, definitely. But whether Capri really wants a mile 6.5, I'm not 100% certain that he would. Obviously, the ground is nowhere near as soft as we were all thinking it was going to be, because the early forecast for the week was that rain virtually every day, and that hasn't materialised. And so it's quickening up. It'll be near enough good ground, which opens it up a bit. I just think Rekindling is the one that's been consistently overpriced. In a market they've been betting on for months and months. He's just improved out of all recognition since going up to 1 mile and 6. He beat Wicklow Brave 2 starts ago, and he was getting plenty of weight for age then. But he was something like £9 worse off next time, because he carried a penalty in a Group 2, was second to Order of St George. Order of St George won easily, but he was £5 worse off from weight for age there, and he extended his superiority over Wicklow Brave on worse terms. I think he's improving. And I think he's a fair each way bet. He's 12-1 with Paddy. I think that's big.
OK, Kills is going to go for Rekindling. DJ, who are you going to go for, mate?
I'm keeping it fairly simple, Bruce. I fancy Capri. I just looked through the race, and I wonder, would any of these be good enough to beat Cracksman, possibly on ground that was quicker than ideal in the Irish Derby, and I don't think so. It was obviously, it wasn't ideal missing the Voltager, but Scorpion had a 2-month break before he won this in 2002 for Aidan O'Brien. So the kind of the long absence doesn't really bother me too much. I think he just had a slight setback before the Voltager, and Aidan decided to not to chance running him. And do you know what? It probably was a blessing in disguise in the end, given what Cracksman did. And do you know what? This has been the plan all year for him. I actually think winning the Irish Derby was an added bonus, because he was their kind of, their ledger horse from day one. After he won the Beresford last year, I think they always thought he was going to be a St. Leger horse, and if the ground came up soft in either of the derbies, he would have had a chance. Now, I would be more optimistic about him winning on softer ground, which I thought it was earlier in the week, but I think 4-1 is very fair. He's officially rated, like Paul fancies Rekindling, which is, like, I think he'll run well too, but he's officially rated £6 better than him. He's a touch of class, and even if you look at the Epsom Derby again, like, turning for home, he was travelling quite well, and he made ground under Shamey that day. But it's just that kind of that acceleration you needed when Wings of Eagles quickened, Cracksman quickened, Cliffs of Moher quickened. He just doesn't have that. He's more of a grinder. I think the long home straight in Doncaster's tailor-made for him. I know he's one of the joint favourites, but I'll be disappointed if he's beaten.
Would you be going each way there with the 4 places, do you think, DJ, or is that not really your style?
It's not really my style, and for this reason, because especially in this race, as Paul said, there's so many horses with chances. Like, I'll be disappointed if he doesn't win, but yet, if you told me he finished 4th and ran quite well, like, I wouldn't be absolutely devastated. So to back a horse each way at 4-1, I think you need to be devastated if they're not out of the first 3. But I do think Capri will win.
Okay, fine. Frank, what's your view?
Good start.
After
Okay,
the
thanks,
yeah,
Frank.
I nearly choked. Yeah,
is that because I fancy Capri?
No. Just
because you stopped speaking so
bit of a head
quickly.
cold. Yeah, that was it. Caught out. I was like going to have my dinner there, waiting for him to finish. But and it was a 3-course dinner as well. I had a stat that I read the other day. The 22 fillies have run in this race since 1980, and from those 22, which is a small enough sample, 4 have won, 7 have come second, and 3 have come third.
Frank
so
knows.
14 of
Frank
22
knows. Here we go.
14 of the 22 have placed at worst. Now, I don't know how many of them came 4th, but if you're getting 4 places, there's one here that's just absolutely nail on to be in the first 4, and that's Coronet. Since the Oaks, this is one I'm very pissed off myself about, because since the Oaks I've been banging on that this is a Ledger filly. I didn't back her then. When she won in Ascot, I was like, that's the Ledger filly. I didn't back her then. It got to last week. I was looking and she was like 10 or 12-1. I said, there's no point in backing her now. She'll be that price on the Friday evening. And what does Frankie Dettori do? He goes away and picks her and puts a spanner in the works, and now she's 6-1. She's been crying out for a 1:06, in my opinion. She gets a few pounds.
Been backed, Frank, or have you just cut her because Frankie's riding?
Oh, it would be mainly just because Frankie's picked her. Like, it has to be a negative for Stradivarius. Like, obviously Stradivarius was in and around 5-1 before the jockey declarations. So, like, it has to be a negative for his chance that Frankie's picked her. Now, to me, she's been crying out for a 1:06. I just can't see how she's not going to be involved. Whether she's classy enough, I don't know. Capri is definitely the class angle of the race. I wasn't convinced he wanted the trip, and definitely softer ground would have been more to his liking, and the fact he's been off for a couple of months to me would be a negative. I'm not sure Crystal Ocean wants the trip. Defoe, I think he needed it soft ground. He's not going to get it. I think he'll drift mad tomorrow. And the other one I thought was a big price relative to some of them in here was Count Octave of Andrew Balding. He was only caught on the line at Ascot behind Stradivarius in the Queen's Vase. The last day at Goodwood over 1:06, it was a tactical affair, would have been completely against him. Now, if they go hell for leather in front here, this fella will be staying on at the end. He's 20-1 in the 4 places. That's not a bad bet either. But for me, I really, really, really like Coronet.
Okay, a quick word on Crystal Ocean, Keels, because obviously one of the front runners won't really mention that much. What do you make of his chances?
I think it's probably improved with the ground drying out, and with regard to staying the trip. He obviously handled the soft ground at Goodwood okay, but I think he'd prefer it better. I'm not 100% certain he's going to be a stayer though. Okay.
Right, let's move on to the 150, the first of the 4 ITV races. It's the William Hill Portland Handicap, the 5.5 furlong cavalry charge. Always a very, very difficult betting conundrum and wide open betting, Frank.
Yeah, it is indeed. Vibrant Chords is 8-1 favourite. Then we have a host of 10-1. Piper's Note, Lexington Abbey, Merlin and Spring Loaded. Just Another Bottle is 11-1. Stake a Claim 12-1, and we're 14's bar.
David Jennings, take it away.
Well, the key thing here, I think, is the draw. I went back through the last decade in this race, and the average draw has been 14.7. So there's only been one single figure draw winner. 12, 10, 15, 12, 21, 15, 7, 16, 18 and 21. So you can't really, and it's been on varying ground as well. So in the last 10 years, you've needed to be drawn high. Only one winner in single figures. I think last year's winner, Captain Colby, has a big chance. I was disappointed, I have to say, at Yarmouth, but that wasn't good to firm ground. And do you know what? Things just didn't go its way. It was kind of held up, and I'd be willing to forgive it. Won the race last year, as I said already. That was off a mark of 95. It's down to 92 now, and it fully deserves to be. But Doncaster could be the key thing here, because it seems to save its best for Doncaster. It was second to 2p earlier on in the season. That was on good soft ground. It's going to be something similar here. Was rated 100 back then. Had some good horses behind it that day. It was a decent race. Like Birchwood was only 8th. I just wonder, is Doncaster his track? Is this his time of year? And is this his ground? And I'm hoping, it's drawn in stall 16, it's got blinkers on. I'm hoping all them things will combine and Captain Colby will repeat the dose.
Jolly good. Frankie, who'd you like?
I'm going to throw 2 darts at this one. The first is a spring loaded. Probably a small bit better in the all-weather, as its official rating would suggest. It's rated 105 in the all-weather, but 92 on the turf. But the last 2 runs at Windsor, it was only 1 1/4 lengths behind Ice Age, who of course went and won a Champions Weekend there in Ireland last weekend of the Curragh, and it ran a really good race at Chester over 5.5, ran on well at the finish, step up to 6, a bit straighter track. I think that can go well at a bit of a price. And the other one is David O'Meara. Like, I've found this over a cliff, but Moving Time, again, that's drawn high also. You have to go back 3 runs ago. York was very unlucky. It should have won. It got absolutely no run. Was beaten 1 3/4 lengths behind Accessible. That was off a mark of 94. It finds itself off a mark of 89. There's plenty of place high. If this can't get involved off that mark, it's game over for that horse. But I think it will get involved. And the massive prices, as big as 25s.
Kills, what's happening with your vaping machine? Because you just had a go on it, and normally a great big puff of vapour comes out.
I think the old, yeah, I think I
Is
need
it
to.
running
I
out?
think I need to replace a part of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I'm just trying to stop us getting it
No,
everywhere.
I quite like the smell of it. What flavour's that one?
That's menthol eucalyptus with something else in it. I can't remember
Beautiful.
what it is.
Nicotine and various chemicals.
Yeah.
Who's going to win the
very
Portland?
good. Right, well, first of all, I wouldn't be that disheartened by a low draw here, to be honest. I mean, the sales race on Thursday, that took place. The winners came down the far side. Obviously, they might cut the ground up a little bit, but it wouldn't really bother me. And I think there's probably a bit more pace, if anything, on the low numbers. But the ones I like aren't drawn that low anyway. But the first is Stake of Claim, same piece of form that Frank was going on about when it comes to Windsor. You don't normally associate Windsor with having good sprints, but there's a really good Class 2 sprint there. And the Ice Age won it, came out and won at the Curragh. And the horses just keep coming out of that race and running really well, all winning. I think the 7th and the 9th have both won since. The 11th, Goring, came out and won at Chepstow yesterday. And everything else that's run has been in the frame. I think it's a red-hot piece of form. And Stake of Claim was 3rd in that race. He's won at the course. He likes a bit of ease in the ground, doesn't need it bottomless. I think he's got an absolutely great chance.
And the guy knows how to train winners, doesn't he, Dean?
He does.
He's good, isn't he?
Knows how to have a sprint winner as well, doesn't he? Lancelot Dulac obviously won the Stewards Cup. And the other one is Roger Varian's Compass Scooby. I thought he was overpriced earlier in the week. Probably still a bit of margin. It's probably still a bit of value in his price at around 14 to 1. He won 2 on the spin on easy-ish going. The second one absolutely bolted up. And then last time at Epsom, he missed the break and ended up racing wide over 5 furlongs. You can't do that and expect to win, so I'd write that one off. So for me, he's coming in with a massive chance. He's got Andrea Azzini in the plate, which is what I wanted. Varian had quite a few in here. It's the same connections as Steps, who has won and been second in this race a few years ago. So they're the 2 I like.
OK, we've had the William Hill St Ledger, we've had the William Hill Portland. At 2.25, we've got the Alan Wood Plumbing and Heating Park Stakes. Blimey, he must be doing well to be sponsoring a Group 2 on a Saturday card. Old Alan Wood, hopefully he's parked the van up and he's got his collar and tie, and he's going to go down Donny for a great day. So good luck to Alan Wood. Well done with your sponsorship. And who's going to be fav for the Park Stakes?
Well, at the moment, Acclaim is 5-2 favourite. Home of the Brave is 7-2. Both Nathra and Bretton Rock are 4s. Spirit of Valour and Sir Dancer 10s, and we're 16s bar.
OK, Frank, you can go first this time.
Yeah, it was a race that it's taken a different shape compared to when I priced on Monday, just with the ground. I thought it would have been really against Home of the Brave, and it would have been in favour of the likes of Bretton Rock, but obviously it's dried out a lot more than we thought. It's not a race I was in love with. Acclaim obviously ran a bit better in the Prix de Geest, was it? Behind Brando, but I'm pretty sure that was a bad race for Group 1. And I'd be willing to give Nathra a chance. She's 3 from 4. Over 7 furlongs. She didn't run too bad in the Hungerford. She had a couple behind her that day. I think she's a fair enough price at 4 to 1. I'd probably have a play in her, but this isn't a race I was in love with at all.
Righty-ho, Keels.
Yeah, another strange one. We've had a few of these 7 furlong races this year where you expected the ground to be one thing early in the week and it changed. And Home of the Brave took advantage of that earlier in the season. He drifted right out and then he came back in and won. But the problem with this is I don't think that Doncaster on the straight track is a front runner's track at all. We've seen horses try and make the running this week. They've all got collared, especially when there's a wind up the straight. And I think something will pick him off, and I think it might be Bretton Rock, even though he's under a penalty. I remember he got absolutely smashed off the boards in this race last year, and it was good ground when he won it last year. He goes really, really well here. A strong pace suits him. And even though he is carrying a £3 penalty, I think he's got a great chance.
Do you know, I played golf with David Simcott the other week, and what a lovely man. And he talked about absolutely every sport under the sun and punting, but not a great deal about Bretton Rock, although he did say that he's one of his oldest owners and he loves him, and he also loves Sheikh Zayed Road, who runs today at Donny. OK, who do you like, DJ?
I think I've unclogged this, Bruce. Did you get that? Unclogged it? Plumbing and heating. I've been waiting to say that for the last 2 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway.
Yeah, I do get it.
Jesus.
Come on.
No,
Anyway.
It's very good, very good.
Thanks very much. I think Acclaim will win this for a couple of different reasons. Hopefully better than my joke. I think Acclaim. I think this is its time of year. And if you go back through its. If you go back through its runs, like he's won, his last 2 wins have been in September and October. And that performance at Newmarket last year in that Group 2 when it beat Lumiere in the Challenge Stakes, that was probably a career best for Acclaim. And if I went through the whole field, and there's kind of ifs and buts about them all, and I just think Acclaim is probably the solid option in that ground doesn't seem to matter to Acclaim. I think this ground is probably ideal. And that run against Brando, I know was a poor race. It was a poor Group 1, and we all seen how bad Brando ran last week. But it just told me that he was just coming back to the boil. Like his first run of the season behind Ribchester was a shocker. Then it ran reasonably well against the Tin Man in the Diamond Jubilee. Then it went to Goodwood and was really unlucky behind Bretton Rock. There was so many unlucky horses in that race. But then it was another progressive step, I thought, just to be beaten by Brando. Probably over just about an inadequate 6.5 furlongs. This is his trip. This is his track. I think he's got his ground, and this is his time of year. So I think Acclaim is a very, very solid favourite.
OK, well done, DJ. Right, we've got the 3 o'clock now. It's the Howcroft Industrial Supplies Champagne Stakes. Always one of the big 2-year-old races of the year. And Frank, take us through the betting, if you would. And also, you can go first on who's going to win.
Yeah, Mythical Magic is 5 to 2. Dream Today 3 to 1. Red Mist 130. Hey Gammon 9 to 2. And we're 12's bar. Yeah, Dream Today is one I really like. It was well fancied for its debut at York in a maiden that's traditionally very strong. It's more like a listed race than a maiden. I think it's like 75 grand in total for that maiden, so it's really strong traditionally. And this one really well. It's a full brother to Albuquerque. It's got a Racing Post Trophy entry, Irish Guineas entry, and as does the Godolphin horse Mythical Magic, but this looked pretty special on debut. And of course the form of that York race was franked yesterday when Laugh a Minute absolutely bolted up in the sales race. I'd say the Stream Today is very smart.
Oh yeah, of course, that's the
I'll
thing.
be a player.
You did me a big favour that day by you sprayed it up, didn't you? And
I said that was worth a few quid. Yeah,
you certainly did. OK, Dream Today is Frank Hickey's tip. Paul Keeley, who's yours?
Yeah, exactly. I was very, very impressed with it. Like you said, it's a hugely. I think it's worth twice as much as any other maiden run in Britain during the year, and it's always well contested. Actually, Rivet, who won the Race of Post Trophy, that won the race last year, and this horse just seems to be. It just looks like he's got bags and bags of class. Went through the race really easily. Was going away at the end. I've been looking forward to him running. I was going to back him earlier in the week, but he was entered in a listed race as well. And it's one of those things. The amount of times I've backed horses that have been doubly entered and done me money, so I held on to it. But I think that's fair enough. The horse to beat is obviously Mythical Magic, who downed a hot pot at Dover on soft ground last time. is the danger, but I do like Dream Today.
And the good news is that both the Park Stakes and the Champagne Stakes at this stage are 8-runner affairs, so we've got a bit of each-way action as well. DJ, who do you think is going to win the Champagne Stakes?
I'm taking on the two geniuses with Red Mist. I think there's just, with Dream Today, I think it's just one solitary piece of evidence. It's obviously a pretty damning piece of evidence, and it was very impressive at York. But I think with Red Mist, on debut, it did very well to beat Barchiba Boy, who was very impressive at Sandown a couple of weeks ago. That form looks reasonably solid. He was quite keen in the early stages there. Went off 6-4 favourite on its debut. And for Simon Crisford horse, that suggests he was working really, really well. He was very well backed. Thought he travelled well that day. Now, he was beaten a short head by Hay Gammon last time at Newbury, but he was in front to stride before the line and a stride after the line, so he was a bit unlucky not to win that. He probably should be unbeaten. And I just think he's a work in progress. I think he's getting better, and the form of that Newbury race worked out well. Another Bat won the listed race in Turkey last time. They went at right pace from the start that day. A couple of them, Hageman and another one, took each other on. I just think Red Mist has done more at this stage than Dream Today. I'm not sure if Dream Today deserves to be shorter than Red Mist. I think 4-1 is reasonably fair about Red Mist.
Fine. OK, competition time. Let's tell you who won the £25 free bet. From Monday's Postcast, it was Craig Granger from Loughborough. Well done to Craig. There will be another chance to win a £25 or €25 free bet from Paddy Power in Monday's show.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes second, third or fourth to the SP favourite in 2 races today and every day this month. Max £25 per race. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
OK, providing the most high-profile supporting action to the St Ledger card is Chester. 3 races on ITV, starting with the 205, the 32 Red Casino Nursery Handicap. Frank, how'd you bet?
Yeah, Viscount Loftus is 130, Falabelle and Harrogate 5-1, Simmy's Cop Shop 7-1, Mabel Lee 15-2, Porsche Party 8-1, Angel Force and Joe Gogo 10-1 and 14 bar.
Kills, have you got a really strong fancy at Chester today?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Is it this race?
Yeah, a fair fancy. I mean, when you look at this race, right, well, first of all, while Doncaster has missed all the rain, Chester's had loads. It's soft, heavy in places, a really low going stick reading. So you're going to take some getting. And the favourite, Viscount Loftus, has been pulled out because of unsuitable ground when it was soft before. So, I couldn't have that favourite at all. And there's very little soft ground for him to work on. Apart from, near the bottom, you've got Mabel Lee, who very early in his career, second start, was second to Althea at Carlisle on soft ground. Went really well through the race then. Now, Althea came out and absolutely hacked up yesterday at Doncaster. It's probably going to go up to a mark of something like 90, and I think Mabel Lee's on 71 here. She's since come out and she ran one poor race at Ayr, but then she won at Thirst last time on good to soft ground. I think she wants the ground. She buys Zoffany, gets plenty of horses who want a bit of cut in the ground.
Informed connections?
Yeah, informed connections. I think she'll go well.
Mabel Lee for Kills. Who for DJ?
Oh, Mabel Lee for me as well. I was hoping you'd come to me here first. The thing that Paul forgot about there is the race that won at Thirsk. Tulip Fever was third that day, and Tulip Fever has since come out and won. It looked a proper nursery that day, I thought, at Thirsk. Like, you don't necessarily associate a filly's nursery with being really good at Thirsk, but I thought that one was. I was just praying for a good draw. Stall 5 seems perfect. I think the more rain, the better. And Mabel Lee, it's 15-2 now? I think it'll go off a bit 7-2.
Fantastic. 2 votes for Mabel Lee. Is it a hat-trick, Frank?
It is indeed, yeah.
Brilliant.
My notes were behind LTA on his second start over 5.
Which one of your boys chalked up a 12 to start with then?
It wasn't me anyway, thank God. You shouldn't be complaining, Paul, is it?
Well, only because of how much I can get on.
But for the reasons the two lads have said, this looks very well handicapped through Tulip Fever and through what Althea won by about 8 lengths yesterday, I think, was it? So, 71 looks thrown in. The draw's fine. Josie Gordon on. Ian Jardine is a yard in great form as well. So this has to be involved. It's a decent price. I'd agree with David. This won't go off 8 or 10-1 now.
Right. Well, if you're listening, I think you better crack on and back Mabel Lee for the 205 at Chester. Let's look at the 240 at Chester. It's the 32red.com Stand Cup Stakes. It's a listed race, and we've got a fairly warm favourite in Duretto, Frank.
Yeah, he's 7-4 across the stars, 11-4 Soldier in Action, 3-1 Rich Legacy, 6-1, and My Reward is 10-1.
5 runners, DJ. Who's going to cross the line in front?
like this, as 5-runner races go, this is about as hard as it gets. It's funny, when I started looking at it, I was like, you're thinking Across the Stars is probably a touch of class, and Giretto, and you look at their ratings. But the more I delved into it, the more I think Soldier in Action will probably win it. Went back through it could. I'm not saying it will, but it could. Perhaps, I don't know. It all depends on I'm just hoping it'll sit behind My Reward, who's likely to make the running. And go back to that Goodwood performance on soft ground at the big meeting at Glorious Goodwood, and that was a pretty solid display in the context of this race. And like behind Nikita and the Ebor, like the Ebor is a race that horses can run bad, and it was bang there 2 furlongs out. It got a bit of a thump, and that was the end of it. I just think the race might be run to suit. I wouldn't be mad at it by any stretch of the imagination, but I think Soldier in Action is the most likely winner.
Frank, who do you like?
Yeah, it's a race I wasn't keen on. I'd probably side with David there. Soldier in Action, he's won at Goodwood, he's won at Epsom. Maybe those quirky tracks are just his thing. At Chester's a little bit the same. It's a bit of a specialist track. Giretto, Small, be worried about the ground Across the Stars. Who knows what's after going on with him. Yeah, I think Soldier in Action is the most solid one. It was supposed to run on Salisbury today and it's been pulled out. So yeah, he's probably the most solid one.
DJ, who do you think Kills is going to tip?
If I was to guess, I'd go for, let me think, 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 4-year-old. Okay, there's no clue there. I'll go for Soldier in Action.
Okay, who are you going for, Kills?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I think if Giretto's at his best, he'd be hard to beat. But you have to wonder I can't imagine that there's any reason other than the problem that he's been off for 4 months, because it was a real good return in the Ormond when third, although getting out-battled in a finish by a US Army Ranger doesn't actually... there's not something you want on your CV.
Leave
really,
him alone. I love US Army Ranger.
So yeah, I mean, I think Soldier Red is just a solid horse, and they're obviously going for a better prize. It was in it at the last minute, apparently, when the decks were made. They just, Mark Johnson's obviously there looking and saying, well, nothing's gone in this race. We'll go there instead of Salisbury.
Wow, absolute unanimity among the opinions for the first two of our Chester races. Let's see if the Glads agree on the third one. It's the 3:15. It's the 32 red. .com handicap over near enough a mile, and wide open. I can't believe we're going to have a third 3-tick race. What's the latest betting, Frank?
Yeah, Kenstone 7-2, Dan Troop 5-1, King's Pavilion, Ice Slice and Instant Attraction are 7-1, Alejandro 9-1, and we're 10-1 bar.
Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go 3-2-1, and then when I do 3-2-1, each of you just got to say the name of your tip at exactly the same time, just the name of the horse. 3, 2, 1.
Instant Attraction.
I didn't hear anything. I don't think ITV are going to be nicking that idea.
There were 3 different ones, I think.
Kills, who do you fancy?
That went better in rehearsals.
It's better than your bloody joke.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, we have a favourite in Kenstone who was up, I think, £9 for winning last time. It's the only horse Adrian Wintle has trained to win in 2017, and he's won 3 times. He's got a load of very moderate horses, but this one since November last year, he's gone up to from like 50, a mark of 50, I think it is, to now 87, and he absolutely bolted up last time. But this is a better race altogether. Dan Troop is £13 higher for winning in July and hasn't been seen since. You'd have to worry about that. There was a race at Carlisle earlier this week, won by King's Pavilion, who somehow, by Paddy Power's Office Junior, I'd imagine, was chalked up at 20-1 when the prices first came out for this, and is now 7s. The value in that has gone. I think Instant Attraction ran a really nice race there. He probably did get fairly thumped in the end, but I think he's coming back to form. He's been rated a good deal higher than he is now in the past, and I think he'd go well.
You're going for Instant Attraction, Kills, yeah? Mm-hmm. DJ, did I hear the lovely Aoife in the background there? Was a female voice came online?
Yeah, no, actually my phone, sometimes Facebook gives you notifications and stuff, and somebody put something up about maggots in Ferrero Rocher, and I just clicked in thinking it was a picture, but it was a video.
Oh, right, okay.
So sorry about that.
So you weren't listening to what Kills said, no?
He did tip Instant Attraction. I listened to that.
Who you tip him?
I fancy Dan Troop. I know it's gone up £13 for winning last time at Chester. over course and distance, but like it was so impressive. Like 1 by 7 lengths, and I think the ground could be key. Like before that, I won at Wetherby in June on soft ground, and it was really soft ground that day. Coped really well, beat right action, and did well to win because it was quite keen in the early stages. Like I just don't get the price because it's worrying me a little bit because I thought this would be very, very short. It's drawn in stall 1. Conor Murtagh takes off the £7. Like everything seems to be in its favour, and I don't know why it's 5-1.
Well, Kevin Pulleen always says that if a price looks too big, you have to interrogate the hell out of it and absolutely make sure you're not sure. But it sounds like you're very confident. You're quite happy to take the 5s, are you, DJ?
Yeah, when I seen the decks, I thought it'd be about 5-2.
Okay, Frank, who are you going for?
King's Pavilion was a nice winner at Carlisle during the week. £6 penalty made things tougher, but he's not out of it at all. But Ice Lights is one I thought was interesting. His draw isn't too bad, which obviously the draw is always important. He's drawn 6. He's won over course and distance before. He's placed off 93 earlier in the season in May. I think he won off 91 and he's running off 89 here. For a horse that goes well at Chester, I think he's very likely to get involved, and he's a decent enough price. I think we're 7s, there's as big as 9s out there. I'd probably have an each to a bet on that.
Okay, let's look at the rest of the Saturday action next.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes 2nd, 3rd or 4th to the SP favourite in 2 races today and every day this month. Max £25 per race. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, David Jennings and Paddy Power's Frank Hickey. We've looked at the televised races at Doncaster and Chester. Now we will see if the lads fancy anything on either undercard. We've also got a meeting at Gorham Park. We've got Lingfield, we've got Listowel and we've got Musselburgh. So, Keels, don't give your nap away yet, but tell us what else we should be backing.
Yeah, just a couple of Lingfield, really. There's a little conditions race of 340. Weights are headed by Oh This Is Us, who's given £7 away to Ibn Malik and Mutawathiya.
He's had a long season.
Oh This Is Us is likely to be favourite. I think we're putting it in as favourite. He's got no real form on soft ground. I don't think he'd like it. He's been won a race on absolutely bonard ground at Bath earlier in the season. Sorry, he was second. It was good as soft in the Lincoln, but it wasn't as bad as it's going to be at Lingfield. Ibn Malik really does like soft ground. Was 4th to Ribchester in the Jersey a couple of seasons ago. I think he's the one to beat.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, one more. Just a horse that I keep backing. It hasn't really showed it, but the blinkers are going on first time. In the 4:15, Rosa Bell is very, very well treated on the best of last season's 2-year-old form. Hasn't really shown it yet, but if she comes back to form, she can make the running. So if it gets across to the rail, might go well with a £5 claim on.
DJ, how many horses figure in your Saturday roundup?
Oh, not that many, Bruce.
Which specific? Is there an actual number?
Kind of just 2.
Okay,
really.
Away you go.
The 4:20 at Gorham Park is the Laverack and Lamway Stud Filly Stakes. So it's a Group 3, and it's not a particularly good Group 3. And I kind of really didn't want to...
You're going for Laganor.
I was just about to say, I really didn't want to fancy Laganor. So I was going through the race and I was like, I can't, Bruce will kill me if I tip Laganor. So I was going through it and I was going, you know what, it'll handle the ground. It's going to be bottomless there. It's 1 on heavy. It's rated 104, so it's a joint top rated. It's probably been aimed for the race. It's had a little break. And I was going through the whole field and I was going, oh my God, Laganor's going to win this. Laganor's going to win this. And then thank God I got to Dabulena and I found a filly to beat Laganor. And Dabulena, the key thing here is this horse was winning when Wells were running stink. It was winning back in May, beat Elizabeth Browning, who is now rated 107 or something. It beat Black Ruby at the Curran Maiden. That maiden is working out okay. And it was like favoured to beat alluringly in a maiden at Tipperary earlier on in the season. It's interesting, when it won over course and distance last time, which was back in May, Dermot Wells said, look, we're going to give her a break now. She deserves her break. She said 4 quick runs. We're going to bring her back in the autumn for a stakes race. And lo and behold, here she is with Wells back in flying form. In a stakes race, and I think Dabulena, although she's only rated 95, I think she's going to be very hard to beat, and I have one that I'm going to nap, so will I wait until...
Yeah, I should do, yeah. That's
it's
right.
Completely left field now, my nap this weekend. Completely left field.
OK, mate, well, before we get to that exciting revelation, Frank, let's have your Saturday fancies that aren't your nap, please.
Yeah, Doncaster 4:45, a horse called Kryptos. It was second 2 runs ago at Salisbury to a horse called Surrey Hope, which I'm pretty sure is Joseph Tweet's best horse. It ran at Thursk last weekend, absolutely bolted up, got an 8 pound rise, but I reckon that's not enough to stop it. Like, there's a couple of fancy ones in here, like Battered and Sinfonietta, Big Baz. Like, it's not a sexy profile. It's trained by John Berry and Nicola Curry ride, but this looks a really good horse, and you'll get a price because of the unfashionable connections.
You're saying John Berry isn't sexy?
No, he wouldn't be top of my list of sexiness anyway.
And by the way, did you just do the Graham Rodway pronunciation of Joseph?
Did you like? That's what I was trying to do.
Can you pronounce that? How do you pronounce Kills the Trainer, Joseph? Tuite.
Well, I'd be Chewit.
The lads absolutely.
I've no idea whether that's right or
That's
not.
what G-Rod did, and they absolutely crucified it. What is it, DJ?
You just have to pronounce it as in what you're firing out of a gun. So you're shoot.
Joseph shoot.
It's just shoot. Okay. SHOOT.
Okay, right. So we've got Kryptos in the 4:45. Donny, what else?
Yeah. 5 o'clock Chester, bit of a course specialist, Bahari of John Best. He's ran 5 times the course, 2 wins, 2 places, 2 runs back, he absolutely bolted up over mile 6. He stepped up to 2 miles at Ascot for that Sugar Cup nonsense of a day, and he didn't really see out the 2 mile trip. He's back again in trip here to the 1 mile 6, and with his good track record, I'd say he can go well. And a Gore in the 3:10. Sorel de la Rose was a nice winner for 7 furlong handicap here off 85. She got 83, sorry. She got bumped up to 90. She's probably a pound or 2 behind Miz on ratings, but she looks progressive, and I'd say she can go in again. And I've one that's a little bit left field at Listowel, the 250, a horse called Swift. It's a course winner of 84, was it? No, sorry, of 86, I think. It won in Navan as well. Of 80 earlier in the season. It's only 6. It's from an unfashionable stable. Again, you'll get a massive price in this, but I can see it going well in the handicap hurdle, the 2.5 mile handicap hurdle, the 250 Listowel.
Thank you, gents. Let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Let's get David Jennings' left field nap out of the way first. Go on, mate.
Well, you know Graham Rodway, and he always talks about this tracker, and he must have about 2.7 million horses in the tracker.
Yes.
I have 1 horse in my tracker at the moment, so I use a very
Laganor.
No. See, I always know when they're going to run because I know them inside out. But there's a horse running tomorrow that is the sole horse in my horse tracker.
You
at the moment.
cannot just have 1 horse in your horse tracker. That's impossible.
But I only put
got
in
a horse tracker.
I know you haven't, because you say it makes you lazy.
Makes you lazy, yeah.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, exactly. But it's a type of one that I would have missed if it wasn't in the horse tracker. But I got the email, and it's running in the 2:55 at Musselburgh tomorrow.
Well done.
Tomorrow. And it is number 9, Eller Brook, that's trained by Michael Dodds. This horse is entering nurseries off a mark of 60. And while form figures of 675 don't suggest she's chucked in by any stretch of the imagination. I think she's much better than that. Last time at Beverley, she kind of ducked coming out of the stalls, and she travelled like a dream through the race. And Paul Mulrennan accepted defeat very early, I thought, watching the race. And I said to myself, I didn't know what the horse was when I was watching the race. And I said, I can't wait. When I seen that it was 3rd run in a maiden, I said, I can't wait for this horse to run in a nursery. And it's run in a nursery. I thought it would get maybe 65, 66. It's got 60. It's perfectly drawn. It's fine in stall 7. That bit of experience under our belt, I think Eller Brook will win the 2:55 at Musselburgh.
Made a really good case for that, didn't he?
Good, yeah. Can't argue with that.
I shall definitely be back in that. Who shall I be back in, Kills?
I like Mabel Lee in that Chester Nursery, 205.
Mabel Lee in the 205 at Chester. And Frank Hickey, what's your nap?
St Ledger, Coronet. The fact that I didn't get on anti-post means I'll definitely win.
Oh, you're good at. You've got a good record there, have you? I've got a great record of taking a short price about a horse, then drifts like mad. Not best odds guaranteed. They always win, but you're terrific at missing the price and then they bolt up, are you?
Oh, I'm good at picking them out and not backing them when I should, and then missing the value and them winning. Yeah,
my heart
something
bleeds
I'm particularly good at.
Just the 3 6-figure winnings he's had in his last year. Yeah. Okay, right. Thank you, chaps. We will just have a quick look at Sunday. I think basically, Frank, you and DJ are very dismissive of the Sunday fair. You've got no interest whatsoever, have you?
I had a quick look, and there's much better things to be doing your Sunday than watching the racing.
We'll come to that in a sec. Kills, give us one horse to back on Sunday.
Yeah, well, I've got a couple actually. But
Okay.
it's the racing is moderate to say the least. But horse of Malcolm Saunders at Bath has loads of horse winners and runners at Bath called Past Fact. Course winner. I thought he ran really well at Epsom last time. There's plenty of family history at the course. He's a half brother to Secret Fact, who's won there 3 times. The Dam also won there, and he won really well when he won there earlier in the season. So I think he'd go well. And there's one at Foss-Lass, if I can find the time. It's called Laurelina. I think it might be.
Go on, you talk about it. I'll get the time.
I'm trying. Oh, there it is. Found it. 4:30. Just another horse that ran really well. It's got William Cox in the plate. He's a promising £7 claimer. Goes well on soft ground. It'll be sticky as you like at Foss-Less. William Cox, incidentally, is on that Kenstone.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, inexperienced £7 claimer. I'll be going around Chester. Wouldn't like that. Had a look at his stats. He's had 2 rides there, both won 7-1 and 14-1.
Blimey. Okay, excellent. Well done, Kills. So, lads, the big one for you on Sunday is the Gaelic football final, isn't it? And DJ, have you recorded the postcast yet for that?
Oh yeah, people would be tired listening to it at this stage. It was recorded on Thursday morning.
Oh, was it? And finished
Yeah.
Thursday evening, no doubt. Okay. Well, give us one bet from it, DJ, on the football final.
Oh, I'm really sweet on one bet in particular. There's Paddy Power have priced up. I think there's 122 markets, and there'll probably be 500 by the time of kick-off. But one market is a scoring match bet, so one player to score more than another player on an opposite team. And Dean Rock, who is Dublin's free taker, is 5-4 to score more than Cillian O'Connor, who is Mayo's free taker. But I think, do you want me to explain why?
No, 5-4 Dean
Okay.
Rock, yeah?
I had a really good explanation, yeah.
Can you truncate it then? Go on.
Yeah, really quick, okay? Cillian O'Connor is going to be top scorer in the championship. He's got 359, but the only reason that is because he has played 9 games. Mayo have drawn a load of games, okay? Dean Rock would be much closer to him, only for he got a black card against Kildare in the Leinster final after 20 minutes.
A black card? That sounds a bit drastic.
It's kind of, you can bring on a substitute for him, if you know what I mean. Okay, so anyway, to cut a long story short, and it's very, very long, in the All-Ireland semi-final replay against Kerry, Mayo conceded 9 scoring frees. So 9 of Kerry's 17 points came from frees. They do concede frees in scoring positions, and I think Dean Rock will mop them up. Dublin are 2-5 to win the match as well. So like the chances are, if they're 2-5 to win the match, they're going to score more than Mayo. And I think 5-4 is the wrong price. I think that'll go off about 4-7.
That was a postcast in itself, DJ. Bloody hell. Frank, have you
need
got
to take
one?
a breath now.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be a betting expert on the GA. I'm more of a fan, but like Dublin and Mayo, while everyone's saying Dublin are unbeatable, there's not been much between them in the past few years. Mayo seem to be the one team who can contain Dublin to some extent, and of course they were very unlucky to draw the first game last year and were only beaten a point in the replay. And in the handicap betting, plus 3 points or 6-5, I actually think that's not a bad bet. But
okay.
Dave might tell you different.
And lads, does your weekend revolve around the Gaelic football? What are you doing, DJ? Are you working Saturday?
For the first time in a long, long time, I have Saturday and Sunday off because there's no Irish racing on Sunday. So, I can't wait. There will be a few pints of hop house drank.
Excellent, lovely stuff. What about you, Frank? What's the weekend hold for you?
Well, I'm actually off tomorrow, and I think Jill was on about going to see It in the cinema. So I'm a fan of horror films, so that'll be interesting.
Oh, is that what that is? That's a horror film, is it?
It's a horror film, yeah. It's the one about the clowns, those killer clowns, I think.
My daughter's going to see that tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I saw it. There was one years ago. It scared the bejesus out of me and when I was a child. And I'll go watch that. And then Sunday I'm working, but hopefully there isn't that much racing on. I might be able to get the majority of it done and compiled so I can kind of keep an eye on the football match.
Jolly good. What about you, Kills?
Debut tomorrow on Race Day Live. So I'll be the live tipster.
Oh, the live tipster, brilliant.
From around 1 p.m. till the end of racing tomorrow.
Great, so that's our new service, folks. We've got a live tipster. It's either Pietro, Keels or G-Rod, and they sit there and basically just, as the markets change, as the going changes, and as they've done their brains or whatever.
Yeah, answer any questions as well. racedaylive@racingpost.com. Send an email in. Try to answer them. Obviously, if there's 1,000 of them, you won't be all getting answered.
I'll be a seller at 1,000.
Yeah, I'll be a seller at 50.
Okay, well, that'll be good. And then Sunday?
Sunday, no plans at the moment. Probably involve drink somewhere along the line.
Lovely stuff. I will be...
Race Day Live thing, Bruce, if Paul is doing it, right, I've done them Q&As with Paul where it's a joint one, me and him, right? He is the quickest typer I have ever, like, I don't know, do you see typers or hear typers ever heard, I suppose?
Well, I can imagine you typing your answer out in about 1,000 words. By the time you hit publish, Kills has moved on to the next race.
The system we do this on is a little bit clunkier, unfortunately, so it won't be as fast, but I'll do my best.
I'm sure there'll be some good winners there. I will be sweating out at Selhurst. It's Palace versus Southampton. We need a win. OK, good luck to Palace. Good luck to everyone with your punting. Good luck, boys, with your GAA match on Sunday. Maddie's back on Monday. We're back next Friday looking ahead to the Air Gold Cup.
Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus. Available to use online, at ATMs, or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.